Yes.
Yes, so for us to give the keynote, we have Dr. Donatus Agnoring. And Donatus is from University of Cape Coast. I was privileged to supervise his master's and PhD, and he's doing so well. He's one of my stars. Yes, anytime I look at him, I get so excited because he's the fruit of my labor. So without wasting much time, let's invite Donatus to give the keynote address. Donatus. You have 10 minutes, please.
Well, when your professor speaks, you have nothing to say. But I will try to respect that and also beg for him to temper justice with mercy. Yeah, so I'm Donatus Agnoring. I will present to you on coastal erosion risk and adaptation to climate change in West Africa. Okay, yeah, I think it works this way. As the moderators started, coastal erosion is a major menace, and there is no point defining it because it's very obvious along the coastline. But then before I go there, I would like to start by saying that coastal areas, as we know, are very useful because of the various goods and services they offer to humanity. And you will notice that about 44% of the global population resides in coastal areas. When you come to West Africa, we have 31% of the entire West African population in coastal areas. This stresses the importance of coastal areas. In fact, coastal areas are experiencing high economic development. We have industries, we have a lot of resources located in coastal areas. And we should be lucky because in Africa, we have 66% of the sandy beaches, and which are the only places you can have tourism activities. 66% of the total global sandy beaches located in West Africa. However, due to climate change, we have our sea levels rising. And the effects of these sea levels are very obvious, running into billions of dollars globally. And in Ghana alone, it is estimated that about 47% of our, 47 million US dollars is expended on coastal erosion risk and flooding effects. But you must note that it's not only climate change that is affecting us. We have inflicted ourselves with some disasters. Looking at this figure, you would notice the activities we have involved ourselves in: sand mining, mangrove exploitation, and other activities that lead to the destruction of our ecosystems. So it's not only climate change. Despite the numerous economic importance of our coastal area, including airports, harbors, we have roads and big hotels along the coastal areas in West Africa, you would find several cries against coastal erosion because, for instance, in Gambia, you will hear report that our beaches are shrinking. In Liberia, popular hotels like the Duco that was established in the 1960s is now memory. It's now memory because they are all gone. And as we started, coastal erosion and other hazards actually affect our GDP. And the biggest hazard that is influencing our GDP is coastal erosion. So it's not only economic activities that are being influenced. Our heritage sites, where we can have recreation, all these sites are also affected. You will notice Elmina, Cape Coast castles in Cape Coast, and Fort Prince instance in the Volta region of Ghana are all sites that are facing various degrees of erosion. Coastal erosion happens, yes, but it is now serious. And it's compounded because of climate change. Climate change, as I've said, leads to increasing sea level rise, which leads to more floods. Now, we are experiencing several floods at areas that used not to flood. And because of that, we are losing communities. In Ghana, we are aware of the Fuveme community in the eastern section that has been now lost to the sea because of the risk. Apart from that, we also have other coastal communities elsewhere, like the Lahu Banda coastal community in Ivory Coast that has also been lost or either at the mercy of the sea. We have areas like Ondo community and Ayatoro communities in Nigeria that are also facing several issues of flooding. So the coastal risk, the coastal erosion risk and flooding risk cascade is starting from physical threats through to power crisis and damages to property, flooding, environmental pollution issues, societal tension. Even it affects our health, as we would have noticed. Pollution and all those things increase our health. Finally, leads to economic issues. So, previously, we used to know where erosion was occurring. But I want to say that now we don't know where erosion is occurring. Get me correct. Everywhere is now eroding. So we don't know because everywhere is eroding, right? So erosion is now a major issue in most parts of the coast. And as you would notice, this is the coastline of Benin. That was evaluated by one of my students. And between 1985 and 2021, you will notice the degrees of erosion, up to 15 meters. Particular notice can be placed on Lakonji, Grand Popo, and then Seme border close to Nigeria, where we have severe erosion happening. It's not only in Benin. In Ghana, as you would notice, erosion risk and flooding risk spread along the entire coastline, and is high. So, can our beach be stable? Can we have a stable beach devoid of erosion and accretion? It's something we have to look at. But what you need to know is that the present state of the beach is determined by the recent history of both the wave field and then the beach morphology. What that means is that the wave field actually determines what will happen. And factors involved in sediment budget are so high that it is statistically impossible to reach a stable equilibrium. As you notice in the figure, inputs are many, outputs are also many. So it's very difficult to balance these inputs and outputs. So, is it possible to have a solution to coastal erosion and flooding risk? I've been working in the coastal area for the past 13 years, and I can dare to say, I have my professor here and the experts here, but I want to dare to say that there is still no solution, single solution, that adequately addresses coastal erosion and flooding. We have adaptation strategies, which I will share with you. So, several adaptation strategies have now exist that can actually keep us safe to an extent, which include the hard engineering or gray infrastructure. We have groins. We have the first one to my right is the groins. We have revetment and jetties. And we have other hard engineering solutions that actually keep us safe to an extent. In Togo, we have a local initiative where drum wells are made just to prevent the issue of coastal erosion. In Senegal, we have breakwaters. And it's not only in the hard engineering, but the hard engineering is the predominant in West Africa. And this is likely to be the only reason why we will not have beaches in the future. Now, we have the soft engineering. This one is less implemented in West Africa, but they could complement the hard engineering to actually make sure we have stable beaches. Apart from this engineering approach, we could plan. Planning is key, particularly since we don't have enough resources to be able to invest in the coastal area to reduce these risks. And one of the key planning approach that I am interested in is early warning systems. This one is an early warning system that was recently deployed in Australia by Michelle Halley. And it gives 6 days notice as to the extent, the potential of erosion risk and flooding risk. In West Africa, I've heard that things like that want to happen, but it has not happened. Even if it has happened, it's at site-specific places, which is not yet largely deployed. So for the rest, to be able to develop an early warning system, we need data. And I would now want to acknowledge National Geographic Society for giving me some funds to to conduct research between Ada and then the Benin and the Bight of Benin. And one of the objectives for us to be able to achieve a long-term solution is to develop a database. So I've already, and me and my team have already contracted an IT guy who has developed a website where when we take the data, we archive this data. So we have started collecting data, and we are saving. These are the different parameters we are collecting. Okay, keynote. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, so I just want to say that the first data is topography. We are this topography is measuring the elevation changes between. We have already started since May between Flao and then Ada, and then this allows us to measure the beach wave, take sediment, and determine what the sediment characteristics. We've also deployed a buoy that we purchased from the project, and this buoy is deployed in front of way. And what we do, it gives us 8 parameters. Now, what we started to do is to get a radio station. Every day, we give wave height and then the sea state, whether the sea is rough or is smooth, to a radio station to announce to the fishing communities before they go to sea. And at 3 o'clock, they do the same thing. This was our way of just to help the community. And now we also collect bathymetry data. And this is to help us reconstruct the entire profile from the land into the near shore, because this is the area that is very important to control coastal erosion and then flooding. Finally, this is my last slide. Finally, so in conclusion, this is not easy, but we need to, it's possible. And then we can do more research with reliable data. We do prepare for extreme events, and also we make integral solutions and make use of local knowledge so that we can have a holistic, stable beaches. Thank you so much.